Welcome everybody to our Thursday, July 14th regular City Commission meeting. Thank you for joining us tonight. We'll call the meeting to order, and if you will please join me in the invocation and pledge of allegiance led by Nikki.
As we begin this meeting, let us all take a moment to reflect together, each according to our own individual beliefs and intentions. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Our first presentation is saying goodbye to one of our Dunedin community policing officers. Boo. So I'm going to ask Deputy Fallacy and Teresa and his family and anybody else that's here to
Captain
come
Garrett's
forward.
is here. Captain Garrett's here too.
Come on forward.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Not really.
Why
Because I didn't want to forget anything.
why don't you let Teresa do her thing on our behalf?
Okay.
So it's hard to believe that you've only been here for 6 years because you've made such an indelible impression on everyone here that's here for you today in the city and all the things that you do over and above. So we just wanted to give you this small token, flipped around, of our appreciation for the work that you've done as a community policing deputy in the city of Dunedin. Hope you will, I know you'll be around, so that's a good thing, but hope you will remember us as you go on to bigger and better things. And we also have a small gift card and other things, and this is from the library, just for you.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you. I really was not expecting that, so you guys kind of caught me off guard a little bit. So, yeah, I mean, I had asked Rebecca a couple of weeks ago when it became evident that my departure was imminent, that we get a couple of minutes to talk to you guys, and for a number of reasons. One, because you all see us all around town, but I wanted the community to put a face to the community policing unit in Dunedin. I think that the culture of cooperation that's been built between the city departments and the community policing unit in Dunedin is generational, right? I mean, it goes back to Jan Wagner and Ed Holland and Jim Wilson and Chris Manzanis and Spencer Gross. And I just hope that I continue that legacy of cooperation. And the cooperation that we get from all 12 departments in the city is fantastic. I mean, you all know my special affinity for the special events unit, Jory Peterson and Danielle. The work that we do together is fantastic. All of Vince's people at Parks and Rec, dealing with all the issues that we deal with in the parks and on the causeway and all that kind of thing. Mark Walters at Public Works, you know, his assistance anytime there's a road closure or something that's going on. I mean, the cooperation from all 12 departments is fantastic. So with me is North District Commander Joe Garretts, who you all know, Captain Garretts. Lieutenant Kelly is around here somewhere, over here. Sergeant Langless is a sergeant of our unit. Myself, as you know, I've been here for 6 years. Brian Kamadeka, been here a little over a year. And Kristen Campion in the back's been here a year. So you all have a face to everybody. Did I miss anybody? No. I'm getting that. So because of my departure, I'm actually not departing alone. Unfortunately, you are losing Christy Campion, who's going back to patrol after a year in the unit, and Deputy Ian Coleman, who's one of your traffic deputies. We are all being replaced. So replacing me is Matt Skypack over here in the corner. He's been in the city of Dunedin for 3 years now as a patrol deputy. And he knows the city, so he's just got to get to know the players, and you guys will work out real with him. And replacing Christy Campion is Marquise Fitzgerald, who comes very highly recommended from some of the beach communities down in South County. And replacing Ian Coleman is Deputy Bassus, who wasn't not able to be here tonight. So, but you'll get to meet them going around town, and I really believe that I'm leaving you in good hands. So again, thank you very much. Really wasn't anticipating this, but my time in Dunedin has been fantastic, and it was with a heavy heart that I accepted the transfer. It was not something that I was considering before it was brought to me, but it's an opportunity for my career, and you know, tides change as they do. But thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. So don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere.
Too quick.
Well, first, and I know you want to say a few words, we certainly would love at some point for you to bring back all the different people, the new faces, and tell us about the new programs and that kind of thing. But go ahead.
Obviously, Deputy Fowler, he's one in a million. I've known him since I think I hired him and put him through the academy and everything else. And he's going to be missed. And if you don't know, his new position is that we obviously know all the special events with Jury and her group handle here. He's actually going to be running the special events for the entire Pinellas County. So all special events you see, from races to presidential visits to, you know, fireworks shows and, you know, festivals all over the county, to the Valspar, golf tournament and everything else, and he'll be overseeing all that. So he's got a big task, and I know that he'll rise to it. I know he leaves big shoes to fill, and I can tell you that the ones that are coming in to replace him were hand-selected. We did a lot of interviews, and to make sure we got the right people in the right city to fit here. They're young, they're eager, and they want to go out there and make a difference. So we do plan on, Marquise was trying to be here tonight, something came up at the last minute. Matt was here tonight to meet everybody, but we're gonna do more of, as once we get everybody on board, we'll come to one of the commission meetings and kind of do an introduction and let each one of them tell you a little bit about themselves. I know Terrence and Brian, which is over there, have been spending the last couple of days, we brought them in early, the replacements, and kind of going around meeting everybody. They will be, you'll see them out and about. And we continue to build on the relationship that have, and like Terrence said, that started with Jan Wagner and Chris Laughlin, and going all the way back to Ed Holland and Jim Wilson, who's back already. So
Yes, I just saw him
yes.
the other day at some event. I don't
That's his
know where
partner.
we were, but
He's that'll be his partner now. You know, and we look forward to, you know, Terrence and Christy growing in their careers and coming back maybe one day to take Sergeant Langlis, or, you know, even Lieutenant Kelly in my position someday. So they're not going to go far, I can guarantee that. So.
well, you know, it's a really good position you're going to, because at least you have the understanding from our end now about some of the things we've had to go through for special events and the hoops we've had to jump through, the bureaucratic, you know what, that sometimes other departments can give back to us. And I know that you know a lot of our local special event people, and I'm sure they've shared with you that stuff. So to go into it with both sides, I think will be really, really valuable to everybody.
I agree, and I think the agency agrees, because my experiences here in Dunedin, I think were a real large portion of the reason I was selected.
Well, good for you. Congratulations. I know we have some others here that want to say something.
Yeah, so Terrence, when I saw the email, I was not happy.
No, I wasn't happy either.
And actually, a few days ago, I saw the captain. I actually saw your HR people for the sheriff, and I'm like, what are you guys doing? I'm not happy about this.
Look,
What?
I had to be the one to call Jennifer. Can we talk? Are you here? No, I'm on an airplane. Okay, I'm safe as far away.
But I mean, all along the way, everybody assured, you know, that obviously you had an offer you couldn't refuse, and we would never stop you from that, even though we'd love to. We want you to grow, and I think it's actually a tribute to Dunedin too, that you were this was the springboard for getting to that position, which I think you'll be great at. Good luck with those presidential visits, you know. But anyway, you have put a face And that is just so important to us. I mean, I'm dating myself by saying I was back here 25 years ago with the transition between the Dunedin Police Department and the sheriff, and number one concern was, will we have that community feeling? Will we know our community officers? And you help do that, and that's really important. It's an important goal, so thank you very much.
John?
Thank you. Well, deputy, I never call you deputy, do I? I always call you Terrence. But I do in front of when I have to.
Sorry, deputy, I guess I should, he's trying to tell me that I.
No, no, I didn't.
That's what he does, though.
No, no. But interesting story how you talked about Jan and the other folks talking about the face of the community. And I know my son, being a young man, young, good-looking man, he always enjoyed the community officers, and so particularly with regards to her. And they all did, and you had that same spirit, and it was always fun. I know when I would come to an event or something was happening down here, and I would see you, you always knew what was happening, and were always very helpful and could tell me whatever I needed to know. I never tried to bother anybody. I always tried to get you picked up though by the paddy wagon, but the rest of the guys were willing to help me. But you were really fantastic, and just from all of us, the very best of luck as you go forward. Thank you.
Vice Mayor?
You know, I remember all of them, like Jan and Ed and Jim and you. I mean,
Spencer.
I've gone down the list, and you know, it is a very special relationship. And I also remember when we did switch over, I was not on the dais then, but it was a very, very important part of those negotiations, that people really would feel that they really had a connection. And the community policing officers really provide that connection. We see you out. I talked to you last night. You're out. You were at DDMA, you're at Chamber, you're at our events. And it's just a real special part of Dunedin. And we are going to miss you, and you know that, but, you know, it's a wonderful opportunity, and we don't want anyone to miss these things that come to them that is a real career building. So we're happy for you, and we're sad for us, but Godspeed.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. As Commissioner Kynes mentioned, it is all about connections. And with community policing, you know, there is so much division in the nation today, especially with law enforcement. And I think that you guys have just been an example of that positive relationship and connection that can be built between communities and law enforcement. And so, Terrence, your face being out here is just going to be truly, truly missed. I would ask that before you leave, you bring Matt up to speed on the desire to wear a kilt. And we just need to work on we just need to work on the sheriff. But other than that, but thank you very much for everything that you've done and just part of the community. So appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
You know, you are a true problem solver, and you put yourself forward as that. And I suspect that that's what community policing is all about, is, you know, problem solving before it gets beyond it being solved. And you certainly helped us solve some problems. You've been working through the whole parking thing, and you worked through the noise ordinance thing. Those two things, I think, are going to be really important pieces of information for you to pass along to the folks that are stepping into your shoes. Because as we've, you know, dealt with before, anytime somebody new comes into the community, that whole thing gets stirred up all over again. So we'll count on you leaving us in good form, at least with those things. And I just can't thank you enough for your service, but I am really proud of the next step you're going to take. Good for you. Just make sure that we don't keep having the revolving door. You know, we like to have people for a long time here.
Oh, and I understand, and the two new ones coming are both young in their careers. I think we'll have them for a long time.
Good.
Something the Vice Mayor said, you know, that I wanted to build on there to show how the high quality people we put in Dunedin. If if you look at those names, Chris Manzanis, he's a lieutenant now, Spencer Burrows is a lieutenant now. Richard Trump became sergeant. So we do put the best of the best in Dunedin, and like Terrence, they want to accelerate, and they get their basis and their start to how to manage people and relationships from this position. So we
Are
will
you trying to
continue-
say if you can get through Dunedin, you can make it anywhere?
No, but they're able to build relationships, and that's.
Well, there
what-
is a lot of that here where you might not have it somewhere else.
Well, and that's what we want from all our deputies, is to be able to build that lasting relationship and that trusting relationship with each other. And we will, I promise you, we will continue that, to put the best of the best in here. And our whole unit, I look at it as we got the best of the best, and we've done a lot of interviews to get the best of the best. And I think you'll be very proud with who are their replacements.
Very good.
If you can replace them, but.
Well, he's irreplaceable,
Yes.
but we'll bring somebody else in that puts their own spin on it.
Yeah.
And before we end, Christy, want to come up? I do want to
Yes,
thank, recognize Christy. She was only here for a year. She is going to go back to patrol, but, she was our weekend CPO and was out there on the causeway and did a lot of the reading for the children. And, she did a great job and was an integral part of the unit for the year. So I wanted to thank her, too, personally, for all her work and dedication out here, too.
I've seen you at all the events.
Mayor?
Yes, ma'am.
So when Captain Garrett's called me, I was on the runway taking off. So you got to go in airplane mode. So I hit airplane mode, and I thought, something is wrong. There's something, I'm concerned about this. So, because he said he wanted to speak to me directly. And so landed, as soon as I could separate myself from the family, I called Captain Garrett's back and fearing the worst, and I heard it. It was worse than the worst. So I wasn't pleased, but as Captain Garrett's described it as a great opportunity for Terrence, and we really are very proud of him. You've all known CPOs over a number of years. I've known Terrence the entire time I've been here, and have often thought that we need to print T-shirts that say "Everybody knows Terrence." But Ian Coleman, I'm not going to miss because he pulled me over. But
Well, I'm sorry to tell you, he's actually going to be a Dunedin trouble.
oh no, okay, I'm really in trouble now.
Good
No,
market to
yeah.
them.
Good job, Terry.
I think it was the other Coleman, actually. But anyway, Mayor, I just want to, on behalf of staff, because I know Jory and Danielle are over there, I know Jocelyn's, we've got Vince here, we've got all the staff who have worked with Terrence for a long time, and just to say thank you for everything that you've done, and we're going to be happy to see you back on our events as well. And Christy, thank you so much for everything that you've done as well. We're going to miss you, and good luck, and stay safe where you're going.
And Christy knows what she's doing. I remember being down at the Waltz Seafood Fest or Crab Fest earlier this year. It was like the first, time we had an outdoor thing at Edgewater, and, the setup was completely different. It was a little bit of a you-know-what show.
Did she stop you for disorderly
Oh, no, I was manning the gate because people were crossing traffic, trying to get in there. It was not a safe situation down there, and she was helping to manage it too. And you guys need to let these people wear shorts when they're out in 90-degree weather, full sun. Really. Okay, well, somebody needs to.
A kilt.
But I mean,
I don't have legs like him.
That's good.
neither do I. But still, it's funny because I've seen you at a number of events and you carry yourself really well.
I appreciate that, thank you.
So thank you for your service to our community.
Thank you. And I'll be back. I'll do some of the events.
Very cool. All right, well, thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
I got a warning, by the way. That's really transparent to say that out here in public like
Are you
that.
backtracking?
Okay, well, you wouldn't have transparency. My poor kid hit 911 by accident when he was sleeping. And sheriffs came to the door. I slept right through it. Didn't know anything about it. This was a couple weeks ago.
Did they
And
break in?
no,
See if you were
no,
okay?
Thomas went to the door. I guess he rang and rang. Thomas went back to sleep. He didn't really know he hit it. And they rang and rang, and Thomas finally went to the door. I slept through it. And he sees these two cops. He didn't know he hit 911, but he sees these two cops at the front door, and he's like, yes?
Yeah, what did I do?
And they're like, someone from this house called 911. And he was like, and he could see, me sleeping in the bedroom. So he was like, don't think it was us. And he's like, yes, someone called. Can I speak to your mother? Well, she's sleeping. He said, let me check my phone, because I've had my alarm on. He had been pushing it off over and over and over. And he said, it was me. And he showed him, I'm so sorry. It was his slamming at his phone to shut off his alarm that ended up dialing 911. But they came, and I was like, oh my God, that's going to be on front page. And I'm like, oh, well.
Yeah. So John, what's your brush with the law?
At least they show up. I mean, that was great. I was like, okay, that's good.
No, you don't have to tell me that. Tell me later.
We have the judge here, I can't, I'm not confessing anything.
Okay. We'll move on to citizen input. This is a time for you to come forward and speak to any item that's not already on the on the agenda. You'll be given 3 minutes. The clock's above my head. Just give us your name and address. I do have someone that filled out a card, which you don't have to, but they did, and that is Tim Bordeaux. Come on down.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tim Bordeaux, and I live at 1742 Hickory Gate Drive North. I have lived in the city of Dunedin with my wife and 2 children for over 20 years. Some of you know me, and some of you may not, but I'd love to get to know you. I recognize I have only 3 minutes to speak today. Have you ever been harassed? My family and I have for the last 8 years, and is continuing to this day. I cannot make it stop, and I'm here to ask for your help to make it stop. In late 2014, Dunedin Stormwater went outside its easement and eroded my property. After asking the city for help and being told flat out no, I had to protect my home and the easement. I replaced some of the fill dirt the stormwater had taken. I was told I did not need a permit. I was then cited, but the citation was withdrawn. To my surprise, I was then hit with 5 more violations: retaliation, harassment. 4 of the 5 citations have been resolved. 1 is still outstanding. I'd love to have the time to share in detail with each of you the 4 withdrawn citations because of the harassment, but I do not have that amount of time here remaining. If you don't mind, I'll give you a little taste of what it's been like. Just recently, Dunedin called Pinellas County Code Enforcement out to my home. The inspector's conclusion: I am going to send an email back to the city of Dunedin and state there is nothing out of compliance. This is one of the nicest homes in the city. Retaliation, harassment. I've attached an email dated October 20th, 2021, where the code compliance supervisor for the city of Dunedin states, this will likely need to be a combined effort to identify any violations, as the property is immaculate. Retaliation, harassment. Please see the photo where the city of Dunedin at great lengths has even gotten on my neighbor's roof to take pictures to try to find violations on my property. Retaliation, harassment. That is just a glimpse of what we've been through over the last 8 years. I've done nothing wrong. I have not obstructed the easement. The easement works fine. It has worked fine for years. The engineer the city recommended to me and I hired says so. I'm asking for help with the last outstanding violation. I have spent thousands and thousands of dollars. I hear my time's up, so I'd like to get to this. My understanding, Ms. Day and Mr. Robe were working on an agreement to end this nightmare. Now, for reasons unknown, that compromise is of no interest to Dunedin. And so they keep on finding my family every single day and have leaned my home. Retaliation, harassment. I can answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. I'm going to look to the city manager because I know that she is aware of the issue to address it.
I am aware of the issue on Mr. Bordeaux's property. Originally, he was cited for work in the easement without a permit and for structures constructed on site without permits as well. This has been an ongoing issue, obviously, for a number of years. We've sat down with Mr. Bordeaux a number of times. We have chartered a path moving forward. It includes addressing some of the issues within that easement as far as the structure that was constructed. To date, our understanding is that work has not been done according to the path that was set out moving forward. I know that Mr. Bordeaux did reach out to
Chris Browell's office.
Chris Browell's office, yeah, and they contacted us, and the conclusion of that meeting was that we need to circle back and sit down with you and go over again the path to right the violations that have been actually found by the Code Enforcement Board as well. So there's a fine accruing every day. So as you know, once the board finds the violations, we need to get back on the property, and I know that code was there, and you did not want them on the property, is that correct?
Incorrect. There were two people that were set up to come.
Mm-hmm.
Code enforcement was not one of them. The two gentlemen that came out were allowed on the property
Okay,
and took pictures, and I let them on.
okay.
The reason that I do not allow code enforcement onto my property, I hope you all can see, is the retaliation and harassment. And I apologize to the young lady. She seemed like a very nice young lady, but based upon the past, I have no trust in code enforcement.
Well, I would disagree with the retaliation, obviously, and the harassment, given the amount of time that has passed and the number of times that staff has worked with Mr. Bordeaux. That said, we will commit to meeting with you again and charting a path moving forward to address these violations. That may mean that you have to construct the mitigation, if you will, and the drainage easement the way that there was an engineering plan that was established. And my understanding was that was the path moving forward, is to construct that mitigation measure in the drainage easement, which has not been done.
That is incorrect.
Okay.
What was recommended, because it was outside of my education, was that Mr. Lavelle, the engineer that the city asked me to recommended, who I hired, never knew the gentleman previously, got with the city, and he did exactly what the city asked. The city refused, said that they did not agree with his findings. And my question was to the individual at the city, what would you like me to do? Believe it or not, he said, find someone that agrees with me.
Can you address that, Paul, in particular? No, you weren't on it? Okay, all right.
No, that gentleman was not there.
Okay.
Okay, but long story short, you will ensure that a meeting occurs.
Well, the conclusion with Ms. Stearns in Sproul's office was that she was going to circle back with Mr. Bordeaux, and that we were going to set a meeting. We needed to get her additional information, and that we would set up a meeting with him as well.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay. So you were already working on it?
yes.
All right, thank you. Thank you for bringing it to our attention. Jennifer will make sure that there's a meeting to try to bring some resolution.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Jennifer, you'll keep us abreast of all of that?
Yep.
Okay. Anybody else wish to come forward and speak under citizen input on any item that's not already on the agenda?
You have this as well. I think this is the last thing.
Hello. I'm Keith Meyer. I am one of your circuit judges, and I am not here to take up too much of your time, but just to introduce myself to your community. Mayor Buljowski, thank you for having me. It's been a long time.
Future or past leadership colleague,
either 09 or 08, I always forget.
09. Class of 89, or class of 09, baby.
Exactly. But every 6 years or so, I'm up for reelection. It's not or so, it's every 6. And part of my job is to get out there in our community and go to as many possible meetings of our municipalities as I can. That's where I meet people that are really interested in what's going on in their community. And I think it's a good idea that they know who their judges are and what our court system is all about. So I'll hang out if anyone is still here when the meeting is over and answer any questions you have. And if you have a pen handy, I'm going to give you my personal cell phone number. So you might want to write this down if you have any interest. It's 727-410-4984. And I'm happy to talk to you about what I love doing, which is being one of your circuit judges and the ins and outs of all that. I'm in downtown Clearwater. I forgot to put my address on the record. It's 315 Court Street, and it's the place you pass when you're going to the beach. So if you want to not have fun, depending on who you are, then you take a left and come visit with me. But seriously, it's a challenge talking to 1.1 million registered voters, because that's my territory, all of Pasco and all of Pinellas County. But the thing I enjoy the most about being out there is visiting every single community, from Zephyr Hills to Mazarktown, down to St. Pete, up in Dunedin, and then when I finally get to go home at night, Clearwater, Bel Air area. But anyway, thank you all for having me, letting me wax on a little bit about something I think is very important to our community and to every community we have. It is your third branch of government and your court system. So have a nice evening. Hope the meeting goes well. And again, if anyone wants to talk to me, I will be here.
Thank you, Keith.
Unless I get a text from my wife saying, come home now.
Oh, wait, let's keep him up here for all the cross-examination questions.
Yeah. Anybody else wish to come forward under citizen input? All right, seeing or hearing none. Action items, we have Resolution 22-11 establishes a maximum millage rate for fiscal year 2023. Nikki, would you please read that resolution 22-1 by title only?
Resolution 2211, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Dunedin, Florida, adopting the proposed millage rate for ad valorem tax revenue for fiscal year 2022-2023 at a rate not to exceed 4.1345 mils or $4.13 per $1,000 of assessed property value, providing for public hearing dates and providing for an effective date hereof. This has been reading of Resolution 2211 by title only.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Franny and Commissioner Torga. Okay. Jennifer, did you have any opening?
Yeah, if I may, just to give you kind of an overview and perhaps steal all of Les's thunder, I'll try not to. Just what we're asking the City Commission do this evening. A lot of people don't understand exactly what the trim notice is on their tax bill. It's the truth and millage. And as required by the state's truth and millage regulations, all of the taxing authorities have to advise the property appraiser within a certain time frame what their maximum millage rate is going to be and the date of their first public hearing on the budget. So this evening, we're not asking the City Commission to review the budget. We're not asking the City Commission to give us consensus direction on anything involved in the budget. But what we are asking for is that the City Commission set the maximum millage rate at 4.1345 mils. And that what that means is that you can go below that number, but you cannot go above it when you adopt your budget. So was that all of your thunder there, Les?
No, most of it, that's okay.
Okay, all right.
Thank you, Steve.
With that, I'll turn it over to Les.
Hey, Les, welcome.
I think I'm almost done
And
here.
Ash.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. Les Tyler, the Director of Finance, and I'm here with Ashley Kempton, our Budget Manager. As Jennifer mentioned, this is Resolution 2211 and establishing our maximum millage rate for fiscal year 23 budget. This is recommended approval of this rate, and our rate is 4.1345 mils. And that rate is the same as it's been for the last 8 years. We've had the 4.1345 mils since 2016. Following adoption of this resolution 2211, the attached forms in the staffing report and the first public hearing date, time, and location will be certified by the city, and we will return that to Pinellas County appraisal by no later than August 2nd, 2022, to be included in the trim notices. That's our general comments. Any questions? Happy to answer them.
Questions? Okay, this is a public hearing. Anyone wishing to come forward and speak to this item, please feel free to do so. Seeing nor hearing anybody else, come back to the commission for final comments. Commissioner Franny?
I don't have any at this time. Again, it's the maximum that we can do, and we can do anything lower if we want, but right now, I think this is just something we have to do, and so I'm for it.
Okay. Okay, everybody else? All right, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Franny?
Aye.
Commissioner Gao?
Aye.
Commissioner Tonga?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Kynes?
Aye.
Mayor Buczowski?
Aye, and that motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job, Ashley.
Yeah.
Okay, now we have the application for the property located at 3 Birdie Lane. It's first reading, they're annexing into our community, therefore there needs to be a land and a zoning change. So first on the list is to read the ordinance for annexation, 22-11. Nikki, would you please read that ordinance by title only?
Yes, Mayor. Ordinance 22-14, an ordinance of the City of Dunedin, Florida, annexing certain real property located at 6 Birdie Lane, parcel number 1428153198600000640, with designated meets and bounds and totaling approximately .68 acres into the corporate limits of the city, providing for filing with the clerk of court and providing for an effective date. This has been reading of Ordinance 22-14 on first reading by title only.
Can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I thought you said, isn't the first
Yeah,
one 3 Birdie Lane, not 6
It's-
Birdie Lane?
The mayor or the attorney went to 2C.
I apologize.
That's all right.
Sorry.
Okay, so we're going to do 2C first then.
Well, no, we don't need to. That's my bad. I can just read ordinance 22-11, which is the ordinance that the mayor called to be read. I apologize.
So we get credit for the one you already read later.
Probably not.
It's been a long day.
I apologize. My tabs were backwards. You'll have to listen to me again for 30 seconds. Ordinance 22-11, an ordinance of the City of Dunedin, Florida, annexing certain real property located at 3 Birdie Lane, parcel number 1428153198600000090, with designated meets and bounds and totaling approximately .8 acres into the corporate limits of the city, providing for filing with the clerk of court and providing for an effective date. This has been reading of ordinance 22-11 on first reading by title only. And I believe Joey's going to do a combined presentation, so I'll go ahead and swear him in just for purposes of the zoning ordinance. And anyone who intends to speak on these items can swear in at the same time. Okay. Joey, do you swear or affirm that the testimony that you're going to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth this evening? Yes, I do. Okay, thank you both.
Okay, can I have a motion to approve that ordinance?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Commissioner Franny and Vice Mayor Kynes, thank you. You're on.
Thank you, and good evening. Joseph DePasqua on behalf of the Community Development Department. And what I'd like to do is just walk you through a quick presentation on the 3 ordinances for consideration this evening. The purpose and, of course, requested action is the property owners are requesting voluntary annexation of the property at 3 Birdie Lane into the city. And in following that annexation, we would be assigning the residential low or the RL land use plan classification to the subject property. And then the next action would be, following annexation, would be to assign the R200 single-family residential zoning district designation to the property as well. What we have here is an aerial map of the parcel. As you can see, it's a little bit north of Curlew Road on Birdie Lane. It's actually on the east side of Birdie Lane. And it is a single-family home on a single-family lot. A little bit about the property owner, and Mr. Stambaugh is here this evening. He's the gentleman who was just sworn in. Him and his wife, Margaret, are the owners of the property. The address, again, 3 Birdie Lane, Palm Harbor. Property is approximately .78 acres. The current zoning in the county is R1 single-family residential, and the current Pinellas County land use plan classification is residential suburban, or RS. Property does sit in his X-flood zone. That means it's outside the special flood hazard area. And again, current use is single-family residence. What we want to show you here is the existing city zoning map. So the areas that you're seeing here in light gray are properties that are in unincorporated Pinellas County. They don't show up on our map in color, but as you can see, we have predominantly in this neighborhood, or exclusively in this neighborhood actually, the R200 zoning. So that's what we're proposing to be placed on the property. And you can see that would be consistent with what's going on around the property with neighboring homes. Around it is other residential uses, but you can see that yellow is what represents the R200. Moving to our land use plan map, as you can see, residential low, or RL, is the land use throughout this neighborhood as well, and also to the east as well for that community. So you'll see the parcel will be properly situated with the residential low land use if approved. So trying to be brief and brilliant as always, I'll recap. The LPA did review all three ordinances on June 8th and unanimously recommended approval for the annexation as well as the land use plan designation following annexation and the zoning district designation. And then as you have experienced in the past, if first reading of all three ordinances are approved, it would be transmitted to Pinellas County through the Ford Pinellas. It is these are tier 1. This one and the next application you'll hear are tier 1. They're more of abbreviated. They don't require public hearings. They're more of a receive and file because of the type of land use change. You're going from residential to residential. So it will be brought back on second reading briefer than some of the ones that are require a change in land use, a complete departure in land use type. So we wanted to let you know that this will be coming back a little bit sooner, in about a month. With that, I'll be glad to answer any questions you may have.
Questions?
No.
When I'm looking at your map,
The land use or the zoning?
I don't think it matters because are you able to show us which ones are Dunedin already and which ones aren't?
Sure. If you're looking at this map, Mayor, the one, obviously you see the one that's called out and it's gray colors, that light gray color.
Is it all the gray color that are not?
All the gray colored ones. There's these two properties you're hearing tonight, and there's 16 remaining properties in the neighborhood that are not in the city. The ones in yellow are all in the
Can't
city.
we just work out, given that it's so broken, are we able to work with them to?
We would accept voluntary applications from all of them, yes, absolutely.
But I mean, do you see a benefit to trying to do it all at once, working with water and stormwater and all of those things, given that I mean, the whole idea of annexing is not to have these broken enclaves.
I mean, I certainly, we can talk about a more of an outreach to the
Can I-
remaining lots to see if they're willing to voluntarily annex. And then what we would end up with is certainly 16 additional applications.
And
Let me, if I may,
Would you
Mayor,
look into it?
I see where you're going. Let me work with staff to see, how we could bring them into the fold.
yeah, all
All
at
at
once
once,
versus 16 different times and everybody,
I think
being in the same city with the same government, with the same water pipes, all of those things, because I know half the time that the folks over there are coming in is because of water.
yeah, and Joey's stressing voluntary, so we
No,
would
I
reach out
understand.
and stress voluntary as well and see how many we can get that would be interested.
Especially if we're going to be providing water.
Well, I think probably the neighbors are talking to each other too about pumps that fail and, getting on city water, as
And we've
quickly
done
as
that in
possible.
other spots too.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I did have a question because, and it was brought up at LPA. And the question was, well, many people are coming in because of failure of wells. And is there sewer? And I asked Jennifer, and she does not believe we have sewer.
No, I believe all the properties, Vice Mayor, are on septic systems.
Yes.
On-site disposal
If
systems.
we could provide.
So we don't provide sewer now.
No, we don't have the lines in that neighborhood.
But it seems like we should. We're trying to get rid of septic. Right, Paul?
Well, he's actually out talking to Mr. Bordeaux.
Paul has
okay.
Paul
Paul has left the building.
Along with Elvis.
Well, I mean, so
Well,
I
that'd be
just
a
think,
cost-benefit scenario, though, wouldn't it?
very much so, and especially with the septics. Yeah, I would think it would be very efficient to look at it in a broader sense.
Yes.
Thank you. that was my question. This is a public hearing. Anyone wishing to come forward and speak to any item that is on the agenda here? Come on down. Please give us your name and address. Yes, you may.
Thank you. I'm Tim Standall at 3 Birdie Lane. And I just wanted to thank the city of Dunedin, especially Mrs. McHale's group. They responded so well to our emergency when our pump is 160 feet down in the ground, and they couldn't get it up. So we were desperate for water, and the response was fantastic. You guys, if you see Mrs. McHale, just give her a pat on the back for me.
We will.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for sharing that. Appreciate that.
Am I excused? I have to get back to work.
We're just about to do our final vote, so.
Excuse me.
Go right ahead. You don't have to stick around. Okay, so anyone else wish to speak to this item? No. Okay, we'll do a roll call vote, and this is on the annexation piece of it.
Commissioner Franny?
Aye.
Commissioner Gao?
Aye.
Commissioner Twiringa? Vice Mayor Kynes?
Aye.
And Mayor Bajowski.
Aye, and that motion passes unanimously. Then we have ordinance 22-12, which is the land use piece of this. Nikki, would you please read that by title only?
Ordinance 22-12, an ordinance of the City of Dunedin, Florida, amending the City of Dunedin future land use plan as adopted by Ordinance 20-01 on certain real property following annexation located at 3 Birdie Lane, parcel number 1428153198600000090, with designated meets and bounds and totaling approximately 0.8 acres to assign a residential low RL land use designation and providing for an effective date. This has been reading of ordinance 22-12 on first reading by title only.
Thank you. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Vice Mayor Kynes and Commissioner Twiringa, thank you. This is a public hearing. Anyone wishing to come forward and speak to any item regarding land use, please feel free to do so. Seeing or hearing none, we'll come back to the commission. Any final comments on land use? All right, roll call vote on land use.
Commissioner Franny?
Aye.
Commissioner Gao?
Aye.
Commissioner Twiringa? Vice Mayor Kynes?
Aye.
And Mayor Bajowski.
Aye, and that motion passes unanimously. Then we have ordinance 22-13, zoning designation. Nikki, would you please read 22-13 by title only again?
Absolutely, Mayor. Ordinance 22-13, an ordinance of the City of Dunedin, Florida, zoning certain real property following annexation located at 3 Birdie Lane, parcel number 1428153198600000090, with designated meets and bounds and totaling approximately 0.8 acres to single-family residential R200 and providing for an effective date. This has been reading of ordinance 22-13 on first reading by title only.
Thank you. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Vice Mayor Kynes and Commissioner Franny. Okay, this is regarding zoning, which we've already had the presentation. Anyone from the public wish to come forward and speak to the zoning portion of this hearing? Seeing or hearing none, any final comments or questions on the zoning piece? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Franny?
Aye.
Commissioner Gao?
Aye.
Commissioner Twiringa? Vice Mayor Kynes?
Aye.
And Mayor Bajowski.
Aye, and that motion passes unanimously. We really need to figure out a legal way to be able to just put those three things together.
Well, unfortunately, it's 3 different types of decisions, but I was actually just going to ask you all to confirm that we skipped past it, I think, because we would normally do this at the beginning, but that there were no ex parte communications to disclose on the zoning piece. Okay.
None.
Yeah, I don't have any.
But is there a
You're-
way in the future that we can just do it all at once? In certain circumstances, especially when it's like this?
Each is for a different legal purpose, and that is the standard for ordinance legislation, is that, it's accomplishing the purpose. So one is bringing the property within the jurisdiction of the city. The other is assigning your policy future land use, which is a comprehensive plan amendment. As Joey mentioned, even these small ones have to be transmitted. So this is effectively your transmittal hearing. And then the third is the zoning one, and that's the one that's quasi judicial and carries its own. So it is kind of, no. is the answer.
Okay.
And she rests her case.
But I want you to know that it's not just because I don't want to read 3 titles at once. It's because, it's because they're legally doing 3 different things, and that's the one standard that we have to break them up by.
Yeah, it's awkward.
Even more so than, we're all familiar with state legislation, and that has, single subject rules. Ours are still single purpose rules, but since these are 3 different legal purposes that they're achieving, they will remain separate. But I'll try to read really fast on this next set.
All right, the second and final reading will occur on August 18th. All right, now we have application for 6 Birdie Lane. This is ordinance 22-16 for same thing. It's the annexation, land use, and zoning. So, Nikki, would you please read ordinance 22-16 by title only?
Are we starting with 16 or 14, Mayor? I just want to make sure I have the right one up. Are we starting with annexation?
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I'm with you. We'll start with annexation.
Yeah, my little cheat sheet has been done just a little bit different, so I'm getting confused.
No worries, I'm sure I didn't help.
14, please.
Ordinance 22-14, an ordinance of the City of Dunedin, Florida, annexing certain real property located at 6 Birdie Lane, parcel number 1428153198600000640, with designated meets and bounds and totaling approximately .68 acres into the corporate limits of the city, providing for filing with the clerk of court and providing for an effective date. This has been reading of ordinance 22-14 on first reading by title only.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
That's Vice Mayor Kynes and Commissioner Gao. Thank you.
Joe,
Joey?
you confirm you're still under oath?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So again, Joseph DePasqua, on behalf of Community Development. This is very much the same as the case you just heard. The property owners are requesting voluntary annexation into the city. Following that annexation, we're looking to do a land use plan designation to the parcel, followed by our zoning classification designation. Again, the same reason. They had a need for emergency connection to the public water system, which prompted the need for these applications. And as the previous applicant mentioned to you, we do an emergency hookup so they can get that part done, which is why it's done so expeditiously with Jennifer's approval. And then we follow up with this process. Property information, property owner is Joseph C., and I hope I'll say this right, Gould. Mr. Gould's daughter is in the audience this evening representing the application. Property is at 6 Birdie Lane in Palm Harbor. This property is a little smaller at .72 acres. Current Pinellas County zoning district designation is R1, which is their single-family residential, and the land use plan at the county is RS residential suburban. This property is across the street, so it's also in a flood zone X, and the current use is single-family residence. Here's that same arrow you saw with the last application. This property is just a little bit north and across the street, so it's on the west side of Birdie Lane, north of Curlew Road. Again, single-family residential lot, single-family use on the property. Same zoning map you saw. Now you see this property being identified. We're, of course, recommending the R200 zoning classification. So you'll see 2 more yellow boxes there once this action is done, completing the continuity of zoning across these parcels that are within the city limits. Land use, again, residential low, which is consistent with this neighborhood and the surrounding area with single family. The LPA did review this application on the same night as the last one, June 8th, and recommended unanimously approval of all 3 ordinances. Of course, the first one being the annexation, then the land use plan designation of RL, and then placing the R200 single-family zoning. And exactly like the last application, this will be transmitted to the county through Forward Pinellas as a Tier 1 amendment. As the city attorney said, this is essentially effectively amending our comp plan with our land use plan map, and then brought back to the City Commission for second and final readings of all 3 ordinances. And with that, I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Any questions for Joey?
Could you put the map back up?
Absolutely. The zoning or the land use?
Well, that looks like 3 Birdie Lane that we just saw. because the map on the packet shows the parcel closer to Curlew as the second parcel in from,
So when you're looking at this map, the one that's been boxed out is the one we're looking at. 3 Birdie Lane would be the one, I can't use a cursor or maybe I can. Can I use a cursor?
Yeah.
This,
There you
oh,
that's 3
I see
Birdie
the
Lane.
difference, I see the difference, okay,
Yeah.
look the same.
And I
Thank
can
you.
actually just zoom back.
No,
there.
I'm good,
Yeah.
I'm good, I see it,
Yeah.
I see it, thank you. It looked close to the same, and I was like, oh,
Yeah, catty corner across the street.
yep, got it, thank you.
You're welcome.
So I have no questions, I'm good.
Anybody else? Okay, it's a public hearing, come on down.
Hi, I'm Sue Gould, I'm Joe Gould's daughter. I apologize for this, but he's 90 and he's undergoing radiation and he's really susceptible to everything.
Do you want your comments to be considered?
Oh, yeah, I guess.
This is a zoning too? Okay, then I just need to swear you in. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony that you'll give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
So first of all, I don't know what we would have done without Joan. The well died like all the ones do out there eventually, and we didn't have any water. He's 90, he's in really bad health, so it was really a disaster. So they got it in as quickly as they could, so I really appreciate everybody's help. And what you were saying about people wanting to do it, I've had neighbors talking to me about it and whatnot, and a lot of people don't want to do it, partially because, there are costs involved, for one thing, just to get it done, but for instance, the plumbing alone to run it from the street to the house was $3,000. So it's something that in the hassle, which I'm not complaining, it has to get done, but the mailings and the this and the that, it's a lot of hassle. And a lot of these people are figuring, I got my well, I don't really want to get into all this. So it just isn't something that maybe people are going to jump on. It's something you could try, but it's expensive and a lot of work. So it's not something easy to do. So, but I really appreciate it. I don't know what we would have done. I'm happy to pay whatever we have to pay. So it's been a real godsend. So thanks a lot.
Thank you.
All righty.
Well, and that's what we have to talk about, is, what is the incentive?
Well, actually, we're doing a lot of discussing, in-house as staff about that. And, as far as incentives go and that type of thing, you got to figure what we've done in the past for other people too. They've had to do their own laterals, so,
Yeah. No, but if you can provide sewer.
Or would you waive that, because you haven't waived that for anybody else?
Right, yeah.
I just think there's a lot of conversation that needs to be had. Especially when you're looking at a whole neighborhood like that. That's my point.
Well, and I think that we're actually talking about two different things. One's water and one's sewer, obviously, so.
I know, but I think you can accomplish both. That's my point.
I think it would take a lot of work, Mayor, and we haven't done that for other subdivisions. I understand what you're saying.
We actually have tried. We've attempted. We attempted to do that with Spanish Pines, one that's on the corner of Belcher and.
So it failed?
He couldn't, Greg was trying to get him, he couldn't get enough people, he had to have 50-some, I don't know, percent or whatever. He couldn't get enough people. Yes, it failed, but but the point is we attempted it, is my point. And he went in there with kind of a program of how to do it, so.
Gotcha.
Anyway, okay, we are at 22-15. Oh, no, roll call vote on this one. Sorry, go ahead. We need a roll call vote on 22-14.
Commissioner Franny?
Aye.
Commissioner Gao?
Aye.
Commissioner Twarnga?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Kynes?
Aye.
And Mayor Bajowski?
Aye, and that motion passes unanimously. Now we need to read 22-15 by title only.
Ordinance 22-15, an ordinance of the City of Dunedin, Florida, amending the City of Dunedin future land use plan as adopted by Ordinance 20-01 on certain real property following annexation located at 6 Birdie Lane, parcel number 14281531986. 0000640 with designated meets and bounds and totaling approximately 0.68 acres to a residential low RL land use designation and providing for an effective date. And this has been ordinance 2215's reading on first reading by title only.
Can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Vice Mayor Kynes and Commissioner Gao. We've already heard the presentation. Is there any public wishing to come forward and speak to the land use designation proposal? Seeing or hearing none, any final comments or questions? Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Franny?
Aye.
Commissioner Gao?
Aye.
Commissioner Tornga?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Kynes?
Aye.
And Mayor Bajowski.
Aye, and that motion passes unanimously. And then finally, ordinance 22-16 on zoning. Nikki, would
Ordinance-
you please read that?
Sorry, Mayor. Ordinance 22-16, an ordinance of the City of Dunedin, Florida, zoning certain real property following annexation located at 6 Birdie Lane, parcel number 1428153198600000640, with designated meets and bounds and totaling approximately .68 acres to single-family residential R200 and providing for an effective date. This has been first reading of ordinance 22-16 by title only.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Franny and Commissioner Tornga. Okay, anyone from the public wish to speak to the zoning designation proposal? Seeing or hearing none, any final comments from the commission?
And any ex partes to disclose?
No.
None. Good. Just confirming. Cool.
Okay, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Franny?
Aye.
Commissioner Gao?
Aye.
Commissioner Tornga?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Kynes?
Aye.
And Mayor Bajowski.
Aye, and that motion passes unanimously. We have a second and final reading, which will occur on August 18th. Okay. Then our next item is, again, being requested to be postponed. That is the ordinance 22-18 regarding transport service vehicles and mobility devices. Did you have anything you wanted to say about it, though, I thought?
Actually, just that Nikki and I conferred just before the meeting, and we'd like you to put it on August 18th, if that's okay. You got some second readings, we can go over that agenda, I have it on the dais for you.
Okay. All right.
I can answer one of the commission's first questions if you'd like. We'd like to work with Jennifer on some policy direction, but I did want to let you, one of the things that you asked for us to look into on the first reading was whether or not helmet regulations could be considered independently in Dunedin, and we did look into that preemption issue, and under the Uniform Traffic Code, we would not be able to make helmet regulations specific only in Dunedin. So put a pin in it. I just wanted you all to know that we had looked into that first question about helmet regulations specifically. So, but there's a few other policy points that I wanted to go over with Jennifer and her team before we're able to bring back the final resolution with some of the additional changes that you all requested.
Okay, can I have a motion to postpone this to August 18th?
So moved.
Second.
Vice Mayor Kynes and Commissioner Tornga, thank you. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. All right, and then, of course, we have the proposed agenda for July 28th, which has nothing on it. And so it is my understanding that Jennifer would like us to cancel that meeting.
So moved.
Mayor, there's really, we've canvassed staff, there's nothing that we have that's urgent or emergent or anything that we have prepared for you for that evening that we would necessarily have thoroughly vetted and ready to go. So one of the things that I do have for you, though, is the agenda for August 18th, because the only thing you have on the agenda that night is approving the agenda for August 18th. So this evening, on that agenda, August 18th, you have this is a land use plan amendment and rezoning for the property by Hammock Park. And also, you just put the 2 Birdie Lane agenda items on there and the mobility item on there. So if you want to, this evening, you can approve the August 18th agenda and then cancel outright the July 28th, if you're prepared to do that.
Sounds good.
All right, well, let's do it in 2 separate motions. The motion I just asked for was to cancel July 28th. And Commissioner Tornga made the initial motion. Who was going to second it?
I say, did I?
I don't know, I didn't hear a second.
It was coming.
Okay, Vice Mayor Kynes. Okay, so Commissioner Tornga and Vice Mayor Kynes made the motion and the second to cancel the July 28th meeting. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. And then as far as the August 18th agenda, I need a motion to approve.
With additions. with
So
additions as
moved.
stated.
So moved with additions.
Commissioner Franny and
Second.
Vice Mayor Kynes. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
So, Mayor, before you move on, I don't want your constituents to think that you're necessarily getting a break by canceling that meeting, because as you know, we have a long budget meeting on July 22nd. So you're not even decreasing really the number of meetings that you would normally have.
Right.
No, and then actually, right after that, we're all going to the Florida League of Cities for,
Yeah.
our education piece, so we have a busy summer.
Yeah.
Okay, and I know Nikki wanted to have some time on tonight's agenda to introduce someone to us, so
I have one informational item, and thank you, Mayor, for allowing me to bring it to you tonight. I'm going to embarrass my colleague and make her come and stand up in front of you, but I wanted to introduce you all to the newest member of our BMO Olive family, Hillary Ryan. She joined with us a few weeks ago, so she has been getting up to speed on all of our practices and policies, but also on Dunedin's as well. So Hillary comes to us with several years of experience, both in state and local government at the county, and worked for several agencies up in Tallahassee after going to FSU. So I'll invite her up to come and say if she would come up and say a few words about herself. Oh, yeah.
Go Gators.
You can't.
Look,
Now I've
the
just
judge
made
is
the
gonna
house
help you
divided.
You're okay back there, Judge.
I didn't go to FSU undergrad, so I'm not.
There you
I would
go.
be thrilled if my son went to UF. So am I good now?
Yeah.
I didn't want to put her totally on the spot tonight, but I did want to allow her to just
Except she's wearing
introduce-
some pretty close coloration.
I am.
Thank you for the garnet.
Yeah, he's an FSU guy
I'll
too.
remember to wear blue and orange.
Thank you.
She is getting up to speed though, and she's gonna, you'll see her probably around City Hall and assisting with some items for the city, so we're happy to have her aboard. And look, I know she really has already enjoyed diving into a number of the different ordinances and things that we've been working on for the city of Dunedin, so I think it's gonna be a great addition to our team, and in that way, a great addition for Dunedin, so.
Very good.
Well,
It's beautiful
welcome.
here. I'm honored. So I look forward to getting to know all of
That's
you.
the first thing she said driving in was how
That's
beautiful.
Do you live close by or?
I don't.
Oh, no.
That's okay. No, it's a beautiful drive too.
It is a beautiful drive. Well, welcome. Welcome to the team.
Thank you.
We look forward to working with you.
Thank you for allowing me that time, Mayor.
You're welcome. Jennifer, did you have any informational items that you,
I do not, Mayor.
when are we going to get the packet for the budget? We got our book, but seeing the packet kind of helps you with your studying.
So actually, the packet is essentially the book, because as you know, we're going to do our fund-by-fund review. And also, I reviewed today a memo, and we'll be forwarding it to you tomorrow, I'm sure, with answers to the questions that you had at our first budget meeting. So and you also asked us to look at the ISF.
Well, we don't even know what order it's going to be.
Right, that's all in the memo that we'll send to you with the agenda.
So we'll get that tomorrow.
Yes.
Okay. It's just helpful as you're going through.
Yeah, and the
Because
order
a lot of
is-
times the order isn't the same order in the book, which is annoying as you know, all get out.
Yeah.
It's much easier if you're
We'll
going.
make sure it is this time.
It would be great, but it never is, so,
I just have one question.
yeah.
So when we do annexations like that, is there a way to do all those three things together? I'm just kidding.
Commissioner Freeney, I beat you here tonight, fair and square. I was here first. The mayor was my witness.
Well, I was
I'm just
definitely
kidding.
last, so. I just had to call the mayor's
Then
gate.
she
She's
tried
only
to
asked
blame
you
it
that
on
question
me
10
because I
times.
went to get a,
What, putting it in order?
Putting it together, you've only asked
I
that like
know.
10 times, and the answer's always no.
Well, I keep thinking a new law is passed or some new creative way.
No, I get it. 'cause
There were a lot of new laws passed. That's your
Yeah.
fun
Oh, that is
reading
for sure.
weekend, but
Yeah, that's for sure.
but unfortunately, no, none that streamlined that particular process.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yes, since we have time. I just wanted to acknowledge that I heard Commissioner Freeney's comments on Tuesday regarding the baseball team, and that is in process, so.
Oh,
Very
great,
As
fantastic.
soon as we can get all
I
that
knew you
together.
would take care of it, you're all over stuff, so.
Yes,
Very
Very
good.
much.
and I'm also working on taking that opportunity then to introduce you all to the new principals of Dunedin Middle School and Dunedin
oh, that's
Elementary,
great. Perfect. That's wonderful.
Very good.
being the community that we are.
Is this our what are we doing?
Yeah, you can do whatever you were supposed to do on Tuesday.
Okay, well, I just have one thing. The Wearable Arts is coming up on the 27th, and it's the first one I'm going to miss.
Oh, you're not going?
16 years. It'll be the first one I'm
How
going to
come
miss.
you're not going? You have a
I'm
trip
at
planned?
I'm at a conference.
Mm.
So, sorry to miss, because it's always so much fun, and I
I'm
hope
definitely
you
working
all-
on trying to go.
I hope you all go and carry the banner. And,
It's my husband's favorite event, believe it or not.
oh, trust me, I get that.
I know. Did you see the look on Jennifer's face? It is my husband because he's extremely creative and he loves looking at,
It's wonderful.
he likes looking at what people have come up with.
Interesting.
He builds houses, he designs kitchens, he's an extremely good artist, and so that for him, that's his favorite event.
It is an amazing event, and so you all go and carry the banner. And I'm going to continue to talk about November 6th because it's really going to be a very big thing. So put it on your calendar for the History Museum's 50+2. It's on a Sunday, their 50+2 anniversary. It'll be at Blur, and then they're also going to take over the space between, or they're working, between the History Museum
Yeah,
and
the parking
Blur.
lot. Cool. Very cool. Okay, anybody else, Jeff? John?
Thank you very
I
much.
looked at him and then went to you and said, Jeff,
Thank you.
sorry.
No, thank you, no problem. We had Dunedin Cares standing in front of us just a brief moment ago, or at the previous meeting earlier this week. And so I just want to remind, just a little thing they've got going on right now, and it's called Dump the Summer Slump, and urgently needed items. And you heard what he said about the number of people that are coming in there for the first time. So it's rather huge. So just for fun, I'll just read the first 5 things that they're really looking for, or that they need. Number 1 is jelly. We have none. Dry pasta, all varieties and pasta sauce. Canned chicken. Canned fruit. Probably getting hungry now, right? Okay. And so just remember, it is the summertime, and they need food. So just for everybody out there, just want to let you know we're always concerned and thinking about Dunedin Cares, because we care. Peace.
John, can I ask, are they, because I don't know if they've been able to do it in the past, but are they able to identify how many people coming through are Dunedin residents? I don't know that they track that.
They don't, they try not to track that.
Right.
And whether they're tracking it, they say they're not. So we say we're not.
Can't they do that through zip code without even,
They can, yeah.
you know, which is not intrusive in any way? What's your zip code?
Mhm.
You don't have to take a name or, I mean, I think it would be helpful.
The food pantry in Palm Harbor, the feast, they do it. They break it
Oh,
down.
there's others that will only give to a certain zip code if you drive, so we.
Well, and I don't
Who
think we
cares?
want to be that.
No,
person.
I know, I'm just saying that they do that. In this case, it was thought to not do that.
I think it would be great if they could at least give their zip code so that we can track to see what percentage is coming from where. You know, especially, you know, they were trying to talk about at some point finding a larger facility.
Sure.
How much are we going to help them do that?
So right now.
Should
I'll
we
just-
get
I'll
other
just say-
people involved?
I'll just say to the recipients that are coming, there's no questions being asked and they're being given.
Right.
So I'll leave it at that. I heard what you said.
Yeah. Okay. I gave you guys my update the last time when I went to the TDC meeting. Forward Pinellas is, I talked to you about those, I sent you the email in regards to those crosswalks that we're working on and that they're moving, they're elevating their importance in the budget
On
for
Douglas?
those. On Alton 18.
Oh, good. That's
Alton
great.
19 North.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah. I think I sent you all the email about that. If I didn't, I know I sent it to Jennifer and Jorge, so those are important, and that hopefully, the idea is if they lower the speed, then those can also be golf cart
I'm for that.
if they lower speed.
I know.
It's one
That's
step at a
key.
time, so we'll see how that goes. And I don't have anything else, so, what's coming up? I guess we'll see you the 22nd,
Yes,
and we're gonna get our thing tomorrow.
yes.
Okay, very good.
Perfect.
All right, we are adjourned. Thank you.
And the Tampa Bay Rays and